This is TWiT.
I think it's time to talk about something else that came out this week, because we've had iOS 17 and iPadOS 17 ship and early reviews of that. But I believe on 6colors.com, there is now a macOS Sonoma review. Because macOS Sonoma is here.
It's out.
It's out.
It's out.
It's available. You can download it.
You all know about macOS 10, right? Well, this is macOS 14. Oh, also named for the county you're in, Mikah.
It is, yes.
So yeah, it's out. It's most of the features this year on 6 Colors. What we did is we reviewed iOS, iPadOS, macOS, and platform features. We wrote a platform feature story because so many of Apple's features are shared across platforms. But there's some nice stuff. I think when we were talking about the settings interface for the action button earlier, I'm getting this feeling from Apple that they are putting a little more effort into those extra touches that maybe have been lacking for the last 5 years or 10 years. Some just like, there are 2 features in Sonoma that make me think, why? Like, in a good way of like, you didn't need to do this and you chose to do it. It's that Steve Jobs anecdote about having the back of the furniture look good. Like, they added this. So they added all those aerial screensavers from the Apple TV in, and you can also have your wallpaper be based on those aerial screensavers. And they have it's like a little combo platter. You pick one and you say, also make this my wallpaper. That's all fine. They're nice screensavers. They're nice desktops. That's fine. What blows me away is like the moment where you activate and you say, I would like this screensaver to be done, and I would like to now have my computer back. That animated screensaver doesn't, we all know what you'd expect a computer to do, right? Which is bloop. Like, that goes away and things flicker and you put in your password and you go to a wallpaper and maybe it's from that same movie, but that's it. That is not what happens. Somebody at Apple is like, no. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take that video and we're going to slow it down until it coasts to stop. And like, why? It is beautiful. It is smooth. It feels right. It is extra, and I'm impressed with that. I like that it's a little bit extra, that they went to the trouble to do more than they needed to do in order to make it feel good. That is what Apple should be doing. That's not it. But on the video, there is a video. I think further down in my review, there's literally a video that you can play that shows it. But it's that's not it either. Anyway, but there are a few of those features that are just a little bit extra.
There we go.
And like, it's it's just this is why people like Apple products. I think is that there are these moments of delight, and you're like, oh, that's so good, right? And it's like, it's not necessary, but it's so good.
It's so nice. It is
often referred to as surprise and delight. And Apple,
Yep.
Apple just masters that. Like that. I mean, it is one of those things that as a user, they just do so many things that you don't need, and you just go, oh, that's that's cool.
The other one that I'll mention, the two that really got me, is that one, and also, so they added this new screen sharing feature that's really nice, that you can, from any window, if you're on a compatible VoIP app, so FaceTime does it now, obviously Zoom and all the rest are going to get this feature. You can you can just click on the green button on any window, click and hold, and then get a screen share control where you basically say share the screen, and that's fun. Okay, that's nice, but it's sort of.
Does it save it as okay? I'll let you finish.
No, it's still sort of a side-by-side, but they also have this feature, which is the presentation feature. The idea there is you can present with your screen. And again, this is one of those things that's like, the extra mile is what gets me. So the small version of that, you share the screen and it's the window, and down in the bottom quarter, there's a little circle and your head is in it.
Yeah.
But it's not what you think, which is like, well, we just take your webcam and we make a circle and we put it there. It's like, no. First off, if you've got something that is compatible with a center stage, you are going to be aligned with your head in the center of the circle. They use their their object detection technology to erase your background and replace it with a flat background. And the circle is not, you're not in the circle because they know that your head, they actually designed it so your head sort of sticks out of the circle a little bit. The circle, it's like, why did they do that? And the answer is because it looks cool. It is cool. And they've built this entire pipeline for image detection and layer detection and subject detection in video that allows the fireworks to go off and all of that kind of stuff. But there are these other things they can do with that pipeline. And similarly, in the large screen share, it drops down behind you. Center stage moves you to the side so that you're not blocking the share. But if you put up your hand over the screen share, it appears over the screen share because you're layered above it and then your background is behind it. Again, was this necessary? No, but it's real nice. And that's what they were going for. It just, there are a few moments like that. The recenter button, so that if you don't like center stage and you don't like your camera moving around all that, but you're not satisfied with where the Apple Studio display parks your image, where your head is at the bottom, you don't have to use center stage. You can click recenter, and all it does is put you in the center and then hands off again. Again, just a really nice little thing. So this is an update that's got a lot of those really nice little touches, not huge things. I don't think any Mac user out there wants Apple to totally rewrite the Mac experience. It's don't do that. I like my Mac. I just like it to be a little bit nicer in a few areas. And that's Sonoma. That's what it does.
How long does it take you, Alex, before you choose to update to the latest macOS?
I'll wait for a couple more weeks and then I'll start updating some of my less important machines to it to just see how it goes. I tend to move very slowly. My main machines are usually somewhere between, I usually update in February. Mm-hmm. and the reason is that I noticed that there's a lot of churn in updates and everything else. And then February, it feels like engineering is no longer looking back and they're now looking forward, and WWDC's on the way and everything else. And so I find that February is when they stop futzing with it. Mm-hmm. They start going forward. So I usually just wait until that settles. So usually my main machines all get upgraded in February.
One thing that's tempting me, because my server was on Mojave until I upgraded to an Apple Silicon Mac Mini, and then I had to go to the latest version. But the one thing that will tempt you and is tempting me is they updated screen sharing, which is this. It used to not have an interface. There's an app that does screen sharing, but they put it in the utilities folder now. You can find it. It's got a window that lists all the places. Somebody cared about this little utility, which a lot of us use all the time. But they also added a totally new mode that is compressed video. It uses Apple Silicon processors only, so it's not on Intel, but it is a super high latency and quality screen share. And I know that sounds kind of boring.
Low latency, but high quality.
Low latency, high quality. So if you're on a fast network, like an Ethernet network or even a good Wi-Fi network, I mean, it's like you're using the other computer. Right. It's that good. It's so good. And I control my server all the time remotely from out here. My server's in the house and I'm in my garage. And it's so good. That is going to get me to upgrade it to Sonoma pretty soon because it's so much better. And Apple is even saying that if you're on an Ethernet network and you've got another Mac that's doing video editing, guess what? Mm-hmm. You can use it for video editing. The latency is low. It's streaming the audio to you from it. I had a few glitches with that, but dang, anybody who has got multiple Macs in multiple places, which is a lot of us nerdier people, I know screen sharing, who cares, right? It's so good. Well, it's so much better.
I think the problem is there's always something in the thing that makes me want to update. Like Ventura, there was a couple new things with Keynote, and there was a couple things that I needed to. I got to have it, and then I just ate it for right. There was I ate the asphalt for 3 months of
there's some app that isn't compatible
that don't work, and there were quirkiness and everything else, and I was that was a bad and it was one of the first. I've only done it twice in 20 years have I updated quickly. And both times it was 3 or 4 months of just that was dumb. And again, I think if you're not using a lot of production apps and you don't have a lot of those types of dependencies, I think you're fine. I think that it's just that I have so many archaic apps that do all kinds of weird things that take a little longer to, not just archaic, but just take a little longer to get all the code, updated and everything else. It's that I just find that waiting, giving everybody a little time is good. So,
Jason, how much? Go ahead, please, Andy. Yeah.
No, I was going to tag on to what Jason was saying about screen sharing. That's always been like my favorite unsung feature of macOS, that they've got this built-in feature that says, hey, if you got a Mac running someplace and you've got some sort of other Mac device that's running elsewhere, we'll let you run like those remote apps locally. And no, it won't be just like running them directly in front of the console, but it will be good enough that it will be a solution to a whole bunch of problems, including just some problems of just convenience, i.e. like I'm in the living room with like the inexpensive, older, lightweight, cheap laptop, but I want to check in on the progress of a transcode or something that I'm doing upstairs, or I want to launch or do some work with an app I've got upstairs. It's so easy to do. And there are third-party apps that do that pretty well, but they can be so obnoxious in what they have to do in order to do screen sharing that, like just 3 weeks ago, I won't name the app because I don't know exactly what the problem was, but I've had this app installed like for like a year without a peep, and then suddenly something updated, and then all of a sudden, like I couldn't use Skype or Zoom and record my podcast because after 10 minutes, this other like remote access app would steal my mic and I would suddenly go mute. And I was like, damn it. And then you have to go through and really go through a whole bunch of library directories to make sure it's not only terminated, but it's terminated with complete prejudice. You really have to nuke it all the way to the ground in order to get things to go. So, and it would be just wonderful if Apple basically made just as Apple has on the iPhone the point and shoot version of the camera app, and they leave the professional features to third-party developers. It would be lovely if they said, you know what, you get this for free. The basic stuff that for just one person who just has multiple Macs, we will let you do this. It's not good for enterprise. It's not good for really administrators, but in terms of I want to be able to locate my running Mac somewhere on the internet safely and securely, connect to that Mac, and be able to access its files and access its apps, that would be wonderful. Double so if it's a way to leverage the power of your iPad. This is the reason why I even have those remote access apps installed on my Mac, because there are many times where it's just so cool to say, I could leave my MacBook at home and just use my MacBook Pro if only I didn't have to use this one app. And then, well, actually, I only have to use this one app for like a couple hours a day. I'll risk it and I'll just simply remote back to it. And it's a solution to a problem. It lets you get more value out of the $1,000 iPad you just bought. So yeah, I'm glad to see remote access getting some love.
Tech Break is brought to you by our friends at IT Pro TV, now called ACI Learning. ACI's newest product, Insights, assists in closing lucrative skill gaps so your team won't fall behind. Empower your team, outmaneuver threats, and gain essential insight into your business. Visit go.acilearning.com/twit today. Twit listeners can receive up to 65% off an IT Pro Enterprise Solution Plan. The discount is based on the size of your team when you fill out their form.